Pain heals. Chicks dig scars. Glory lasts forever.
Napheesa Collier and Breanna Stewart must step down and have nothing to do with CBA negotiations for the WNBA. This has to happen if we want a shot at getting a legitimate, fair deal for the players in league alike that does not delay 2026. It cannot happen with Collier and Stewart leading the negotiations, period. Welcome back to the channel. Thank you for being here. Appreciate your support. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Of course, shout out to the 19. I want to talk about this, and I've touched on it in videos when I have been talking about the CBA and Unrivaled, specific things like what Collier said to Engelbert and how she responded, and then Fee throwing a hissy fit and saying we can't repair that. Oh my gosh, how dare she come back and respond to what I said when I attacked her, and so on and so forth. But I still see so many people talking about the fact that they say there is no conflict at all, no conflict of interest at all. That is simply ridiculous, folks. Absolutely ridiculous. Yes, Unrivaled is a competitor league. No, Napheesa Collier and Breanna Stewart, as owners of Unrivaled, should not be involved in negotiating a CBA for players of the WNBA. If people are saying that is not a conflict of interest, they're either paid shills for Unrivaled and Fee and Stewie, or they really are just emoting and they're on just emoting, and anything that is pro player is something that they are going to fully support. But let's look at this scenario, okay? Shall we? We have a CBA expiring this month. Let's say it does. Fee and Collier, it doesn't get done. Well, first of all, it doesn't get, let's say it doesn't get done by the time Unrival rolls around. So they've got into their marketing. Hey, you know what? This might be the only time this year you see your favorite WNBA stars playing professional basketball. And then let's say there's no 2026 season. Man, can Unrivaled leverage that going forward again with their marketing. And what they have done is they've put themselves in a situation. A lot of people say, "Oh, well, it's 3-3, 3v3. It's a different thing. It's not a competitor." Blah 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 blah. Woof woof, folks. It doesn't have to stay that way forever. Aren't there now 8 teams instead of 6? Aren't they playing some games in Philadelphia, what they're calling like an unrivaled tour? As the money comes in, and we know there was a ton more money that came in recently, things can expand if the ratings are there, the money's there, and it's successful enough. It can expand to where now you have franchises in different cities, or at least again, all of the teams playing in different locations. Maybe now it's like, oh, they're playing a night in Philly. Maybe that expands to, they go spend, I don't know, how long was the season again? 4 weeks, 6 weeks, something like that, and they spend 1 week in 4 or 5 different locations. And then eventually maybe it becomes franchises are in different locations. And then it goes from 3v3 to 5v5. Unrivaled is now valued after 1 year. The valuation, I believe, was like $340 million. And there was another round of investments. Do you understand? As the founders of the league, Napheesa Collier and Breanna Stewart have a fiduciary responsibility to those investors. And there will be things in the negotiations with the CBA that may benefit the players of the WNBA, but that would not be beneficial for Unrivaled as a business. It is a clear conflict of interest, and these players should not be anywhere near these negotiations. It is absolutely wild that people think otherwise. Now, I get all the players, of course, and it makes sense. A united front is important in negotiation like this, and they're going to come out and support Napheesa Collier. But they are truly not thinking of this. And again, Unrivaled right now is what, about 40? I guess if it's 6 per team this year, it'd be what, 48 players. The WNBA was what, 156 this year with 13 teams. They're quickly going to go to 18 teams. One of the things they may get out of the CBA is 14 players per roster. So look, it's not like all the WNBA players can be playing in Unrivaled if the WNBA 2026 season doesn't happen. This negotiation cannot be about what benefits Napheesa Collier and what benefits Breanna Stewart. It has to be about fairness for all WNBA players with a deal that makes the future bright for the entire WNBA. What about those players at the bottom of the roster, player vets making veteran minimums and so forth? What do you think's happen that aren't in Unrivaled? What do you think happens to them if there's a prolonged dispute, if 2026 doesn't happen at all? I get that players elected them and they're not asking them to stand down. They want a united front. But again, I really don't think they understand what is happening. Or if they do, they think they are going to benefit from them. So this is a huge problem for the WNBA because they're not just negotiating with the players, they're negotiating with people who own another league who are accountable to the investors who have put in tens and hundreds of millions of dollars into that league. Yes, Napheesa Collier and Breanna Stewart, absolutely trailblazers here, but that their stake in Unrivaled and founding that compromises their ability to negotiate for a fair deal for the WNBA players in the CBA process. In order to have that trust that is needed, they have got to divest. They've got to say, you know what, we can't be part of Unrivaled financially. Or they've got to say, hey, we can't have anything to do with the WNBA negotiation so that they can ensure that the people in charge, that the people negotiating are there to serve all of the players, not serve a competitor, a $340 million rival to the WNBA. The league itself, and yes, the WNBPA, and yes, the fans all deserve impartial leadership on both sides that are there to get a fair deal done that sets the WNBA up for success in the future. That is supposed to be what is going on here, and it cannot happen as long as Napheesa Collier and Breanna Stewart are involved in the negotiations. They need to divest or they need to step aside. There's no other way for this to happen the way it needs to happen. I think the longer they are involved, the more likely a lockout will happen, which is a good thing for Unrivaled. That right there, the fact that a WNBA lockout is good for Unrivaled should let you know that the founders of Unrivaled should not be negotiating the WNBA collective bargaining agreement. Man, look, you are not. Let me wrap this up and try and put it into business. I know a lot of people talk about say, hey, well, you can't work for Google and on your vacation work for Microsoft, right? And that is true. That is 100% true. But also in a lot of big corporations, especially, it's going to be there are going to be different ways that it's done depending on the different job positions and the hold and your knowledge and this and that. But in a lot of big companies and in specific jobs, there are non-competes. You can't work a certain job at a company and then like gather up all this knowledge and contacts and be like, "Oh, I quit," and then you start your own small business that's a rival. You can't do it. They want you because a lot of them be like, "Oh, okay, if you leave, you cannot be involved in whatever the ways are that spelled out in this industry. You cannot be involved in any way that would make you a competitor to where you just worked." You can't do it, folks. This is just the reality for those that are emoting about it. But anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Appreciate you checking out the video as always. Do me a favor, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. You know the deal. I think we just topped 14,700, so we are closing in on that magic 15,000. I really appreciate all the support. Go have the day you deserve. I will talk to you later.